In the lightweight division of boxing, labels can be affixed to a fighter and it becomes who they are defined as. And that typically will come from announcers calling their fights. And such is the case for Cuban contender and world-class boxer Andy Cruz. After his performance on Saturday, January 25th against Omar Salcido, one of the things that the broadcasters calling the fight tried to allude to as early as the second round is that Andy is boring. But it wasn't that he was boring. He was handling his business of boxing as so many others who have come before him, displaying skills that his opponent just couldn't solve. And so the announcers took to labeling or attempting to label Andy as such. Let's talk about the fight and what could be on the horizon for Andy Cruz. In boxing, we often find that there are labels that are affixed to fighters, and such is the case for a fighter like Andy Cruz, the Cuban former Olympic standout who is now a professional. When he turned in his performance on Saturday, January 25th against Omar Salcido, he looked like a guy who could swim without getting wet. And that's something that the announcers didn't enjoy. You see, they want guys to stand and go toe-to-toe and show blood, sweat, and tears. But when you can box like Andy Cruz, you rise above your peers. And see, it is very disrespectful for announcers to not acknowledge a fighter's skill set. Because though being able to punch, being able to look athletic, have speed, a little bit of charisma, ring IQ, those qualities are not what the announcers find worth expressing when they're calling fights. They want something happening at every moment of the fight. But when you watch a fighter like Cruz, something is happening at every moment of the fight. He's 5'9", an orthodox fighter, and who can box both southpaw and orthodox, but he boxes orthodox. And his opponent in Salcido was coming off of an October victory over Chris Colbert. And it was an exciting stoppage of Colbert that elevated the Mexican to this opportunity. He came into the fight with the record of 20-0, and he's only 25 years of age, 5'7". But he throws good punches. He's a tremendous body puncher, but he doesn't have the type of power that can get guys out of there at the top level of the sport. He's only got 14 KOs in his 20 victories, but he is a fighter that will bring the most of what he can. I noticed that early on, Cruz took everything that Salcido had to offer, and what he was doing was allowing Salcido to get off so he could counter and pick him apart. He did it very well, and the announcers were not able to pick up on that aspect of their fight because Andy showed a little bit of being vulnerable, but it was done with intent. He needed Salcido to open up, because if he just continued to pick him apart, Salcido would have just followed him around, guard up, and not letting his hands go. And so he was able to draw the fire and then counter, extinguishing the fire of Super, which is the nickname of Salcido. Another aspect of Andy was setting down on his punches a little bit more. And you can accredit that to his coach and trainer, Bozy Ennis. That was something that he was able to do. And he hurt Salcido a few times in the fight. The judges scored the fight 98-92 on 2 cards and 99-91. What that was a dominant performance. Now I will say something. Another former Olympian who fought at lightweight, they totally gave credit to him for his success in shutting fighters out, was Vasyl Lomachenko. But you see, Vasyl had the complexion and also protection of these color analysts when they called his fights. And as he boxed and shut his opponents out, they talked about how great he was. And he was a matrix, something very tough to deal with in the ring. Well, I see the same thing out of Cruz. Cruz is a boxer that no one is going to be running to him to fight him. And when he boxes the way he did with Salcido, he looks classes above his contemporaries. After the fight, he had an opportunity to stop ringside and speak with the likes of Keyshawn Davis, his nemesis from the Olympics, as well as Shakur Stevenson, who shares the training camp with Keyshawn. And both guys were pretty much bowing to Cruz because they know that either of them would have the toughest fight of their career if they were to face Andy Cruz. And he's still coming on. The Cuban is ready for a title shot right now. And it's very interesting because as he comes into his next fight, he'll bring a record of 5-0 with 2 KOs. However, just like Lomachenko, he's already ready for a title shot. He's that good. And as long as he continues to exhibit the abilities like he showed against Salcido, he's going to be a tough nut to crack. And the announcers don't like that. They want someone who's going to bleed for their entertainment. And right now, there's not a fighter out there, including Gervonta Tank Davis, who could challenge the likes of Andy Cruz in that manner. He's a dominant boxing fighter, and his skill set is at the highest level. I would really like to see where he's going to win a world title, because whomever he sets foot in the ring against, he is going to be the favorite. And the likes of Shakur Stevenson, who may move up out of the division before you know it, and Keyshawn, who is about to face Dennis Berinchyk for his first world title shot, is going to be an interesting affair to see how that shakes out in the lightweight division. As I've spoken about so many times, the wheel is turning and the boxing is changing for the better. You're going to start to see those who've avoided and stepped by the wayside start to either fulfill the promise of delivering great fights or be passed by. But what do you think? Do you feel that Andy is going to be the next world champion as soon as he gets the title shot? I believe so. Leave comments and let's discuss. This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.